Okay, so I'm making this video in response to a question that a couple people asked. It is how to install pivot pins on the Benchmade 51 when you're installing flytanium scales. So I know this isn't a Benchmade 51. The Benchmade 51 that I had in my recent video was traded away for a Killer Bee replicant. So it's the same concept though, and I'll do my best to show it, with this explaining. I'm not going to take this apart because I don't want to mess with BRS's tolerances. They have it set very specifically, and I like it that way, but I should be able to get the point across. So, what you're going to do is, right, let's just pretend this is a Benchmade 51. You're going to take it, and you're going to take apart the knife, okay? So you should just have these two scales right here, okay? You're going to be working with these two scales alone when installing the pivot pins. And make sure that they're the right scales, okay? You don't want to, put one pivot pin in, the wrong side so it doesn't match, okay? So make sure you keep track of these two scales on the 51. So when you're taking it out, right, ideally you're just going to have these two scales with the pivot pins sticking upwards. Lay them on a very hard, stable surface with the edge out. And you're going to, put your hand here, obviously keep it in place. And you're going to use a rubber mallet or a hammer, preferably a rubber mallet so you don't damage it cosmetically. If you are using a hammer like I did, I laid a piece of leather on top of it and hit it so it didn't damage it. So you're going to pop them out by hitting it with a mallet or a hammer. I would say, start kind of tapping it gently, and it may require a bit of force to get it out and to get it in. But for the most part, don't go too crazy with it. So once they're out, you're going to put them in the flytanium scales, right? You're going to lay those two flytanium scales, it's not going to be assembled, right? You just have these two scales. Lay them flat on this table or whatever surface. I wouldn't recommend using some type of wood janky table. I used a vice grip press on top of it. I didn't clamp it in the press. I just set it on top of the flat surface. So let's just say this is the pivot pin. I don't know what this is, but we're just going to say that this is it. You're going to stick it in there, and you are going to tap it in the same way you tapped it out. You want it to get pretty flush. Okay, obviously it's not going to be as flush as this. This is a different knife, so to the best of your extent, make sure it's flush. Now, if you find that the pivot pin is kind of like kittywampus, I guess, not sticking straight through, flip it other side with the pin sticking up, and gently kind of tap it in the direction you want until it's flush. So it's really not that complicated once you kind of understand it. It took me a while because it was my first time, but it's really not that hard. So yeah, like I said, I wish I had a real 51 here to show you exactly what I mean, but it was traded away. But I think this gets the message across. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment, and I could, try to help out to the best of I can. Yeah, so good luck.